Hey guys, Steven here back with another video, and today I'm going to change it up a bit. I'm going to show you guys exactly how I edit my photos. I've made a lot of videos on editing photos in different styles, but I've never really broke it down in depth, and I never show you guys like a speed art, like a little time lapse of, or a very detailed, tutorial. So I thought I would do it with the Astroworld, Travis Scott tour. So I've been able to shoot this twice. I think the second time around, the photos turned out much better. And if you guys want to know how I actually got my camera in and sneaked in, the second time around, like this video, it was actually really crazy. But yeah, I'm gonna go really in depth with this, and I'm gonna show you guys how I did it. It might not turn out exactly how the photos turned out on my Instagram that I posted, but I'm just going to go through my thought process on how to edit and what I choose to edit, because there's 1,300 photos, by the way, that I took during this show. So I'm going to just be talking about, my thoughts while I edit. Alright, so I got a bunch of photos here. None of them are edited, and they're all in RAW, so it's easier to edit, obviously. The first couple are Sheck West because, he's the opener. I was kind of disappointed because I wanted to see Gunna and Trippie Redd like last time, but this time it was just Sheck West. And I don't think Travis Scott actually brought anyone out this time, so that's disappointing. Last time, I think Nav came out. So I'm not going to really edit Sheck West because I wasn't really close. So you can see which ones I would choose to edit. So let me just go through Sheck West and which ones I would edit. So I would edit something like this because it's just I think generally it's a good picture, but I think, you could take this on your iPhone if you really wanted to. Like this photo, not really, because it's getting blocked by this guy right here. Not so much this. I think it's really just the composition. If the composition is good, I will edit. Something like this, I remember when I was trying to edit, it didn't look that good because I think he wasn't in focus. So if I try to like add my preset or something, it didn't look that good. Like I said, again, you can probably take this with your iPhone or something because it's not really close. But I would just apply preset and I would change the color balance depending on what looked better. So that's an issue I have a lot with concert photos. I don't know if it looks better when with cool colors or with warm colors. And sometimes actually it doesn't look good with either. So I'll actually just make it black and white. So any black and white photos I have are not on purpose. They're just there because the photo looked better black and white than with color. So something like this, I don't think green would look good. I'll maybe make it a little bit more blue. And maybe increase contrast because it's not really focused on anything right now. So something like that. But I didn't really edit the Sheck West photos because I'm not really a big fan of Sheck West. So just a before and after right here, you can see. And you can also get my presets in the description as well if you want to get that. They're actually $5 off, so they're $5. Originally $10. My favorite photos from Sheck West's set was actually like these ones. Because just the light, there's like a lot of contrast, so I would rotate it to just center it, or not center it, to like align it horizontally. So usually for concerts, I would use standard or smooth criminal. Standard for much more like basic edits, and smooth criminal if I want to bring out colors and stuff like that. So I think moving toward the left side doesn't look as good, it gets washed out, but I think moving toward the right adds more character. So right here, I think it's just too purple, so in this case I would actually make it black and white or something and maybe increase the contrast. I think that just adds a lot more character instead of being a washed out sort of photo. So this is before and after. So that's how I would edit like a far photo. I would add a lot of clarity because with a farther wider shot, there's not a lot of detail and there's not really a focus, so increasing clarity will kind of make it look a little bit better. So right here you can see it's a bit washed out. You can see his face is red. I already know by just looking at this that it would be hard to color grade it so that his face wouldn't look super red. I know I ended up actually editing this one in black and white because it didn't look really good. So I would use smooth criminal. Usually the contrast goes all the way up and the exposure goes down for stuff like this. So you can see it's kind of washed out. His face is red. If I were to change the temperature, it's still red. So for stuff like this, I would make it black and white. You can probably get away with adding color and stuff like that, but I don't think that looks really good. So what I ended up doing was making it black and white like this. Usually you want a lot of contrast in concert photos, but that's just my style. So that's why my shadows and my blacks are always down and my highlights are always up. I think generally in my photography it's like that. So I would do something like this so you can see what that does. And then usually if I have like a bunch of photos that are similar, I would just copy all the settings, maybe besides crop, and then paste it. So this is like the same photo. Maybe even this one because it's really faded and it's similar to like how this one looked like before editing. I think I could maybe apply this as well. Not really though, because most of it's smoke, so I wouldn't use this photo. A lot of the photos I edit aren't actually used. I usually end up with like 30 good ones out of like the 1,300 really. I think I could use the preset for this, so the black and white one. It doesn't look that good just because the composition, he's a little bit too low and like it's a weird angle, so I wouldn't even use this. Maybe something like this where he's higher up, it'll work, but even then the colors are kind of off, so I don't know if I'll use this. And you can't really see his face, so I think I just skipped this whole section. And a lot of them are out of focus. It's really hard to get, you know, good photos when he's moving a lot. This one, you can't really tell it's him. It's kind of far away. I wouldn't use that either. One of the most well-received photos I got, and I'm just going to show it before and after. Just going back to the basics, we're going to add a preset. And the preset doesn't look that much different from the actual photo. It actually looks kind of worse. Adding the preset, increasing the contrast, lowering it a bit, changing the color temperature, lowering the blacks, increasing the clarity, just messing with the color balance. And you can see what a drastic difference that makes. And if I can copy and paste this onto other ones, it'd probably look good as well. So something like this. Not really because the color balance, but if we just move it back, it probably looks good. Yeah, maybe like with the red, it's a little bit too red. So what you could do is go to HSL and just lower the red saturation and it would look good. So something like that. You just don't want it to get super grainy. That's why I recommend shooting in RAW so that doesn't happen. So you can see what big of a difference that does. I think it's a little bit too much clarity right here and too much highlights. So something like that. I think I ended up making it black and white though, but honestly you can go either way. You can see right here, this is a really good photo. It's very clean, not a lot of green. So if I add the preset and maybe increase the brightness, you can see what that does. I really like the contrasting colors on this one. So you can see what that does. I'm gonna go here because I can see the preview. It's like how I edited before. So this was how it looked like before right here. So if I paste the preset, you can see how much the color just changes. So you can see the before and after. Very drastic. A lot of these concert photos just like getting the right color balance and stuff like that and composition. So you need to actually shoot well. Like this photo, for example, I think you can do the same thing with this in terms of color. I think it looks actually better like this. I should edit like this before, but I didn't. And I actually don't want it to have too much shadow because it kind of blocks out a lot of detail. So we can increase it and maybe lower the highlights a little bit. So you can see what that does. I think maybe too much clarity. Yeah, something like that. This was one of my favorite photos that I actually did. I didn't end up posting it. Probably will. Let's add the preset. You can see his face isn't really visible because it's too bright. So you can either lower the exposure or the highlights. I'm gonna do both. And you can see now the colors are just a bit off. It's a little bit too warm. So I'm gonna move it to the left side. And then there you go. I think I ended up making this black and white just because the skin tone was a little bit off. So you can see how that looks. Increase the clarity a bit so his face is a little bit more visible. I just like the composition of this one. There's a lot of other ones like this one. You can see what that does. I think even in this case, I would make it black and white as well. But I think the colors look pretty dope in this. You can probably crop it as well because he's not like the main focus really. It's the background. But if I made it like this, it looks so much better. Like I think this composition is dope with the light in here. If we just paste it, you can see what that does. If you don't like this color, I think this looks better than a warmer color just because you can see the detail in his face. But I think I ended up making this black and white anyways just because the colors didn't look good. So some of these were actually my favorite. I think this was one of my favorite actually just because the composition was really nice. I ended up making it black and white, but I think it would have looked good with color as well. So adding the Smooth Criminal preset actually looked really good. It added like additional colors that weren't there before. Maybe increasing the clarity would have looked good. Yeah. So you can change the colors and stuff. I think it would look really good with like a warmer tint like this. It looks like fire and stuff. Depends on how you edit. Obviously, I ended up making it black and white, which I think looks cool, but I think actually with color looks just as cool. I think this is perfect composition, but the colors didn't turn out so well. If I were to edit this, it'd probably turn out like super blue just because his face. So you can see that. Like if I were to add any sort of contrast, his face would just get blue. So I would have to make this like black and white or something. So I got like this photo. I didn't really edit this, but I think this could turn out like a really good photo if I had a wider lens or something. So these ones were probably like the best in terms of composition because he's right in the middle and just looks really cool. I would add Smooth Criminal, add maybe a lot of contrast to this. I think I posted a black and white version of this. I can see why, just because like I don't think the colors look that good. Right? Yeah. So I made it black and white. I added a lot of contrast and I think I lowered the highlights a bit. So I think it turned out like this and I cropped in a little bit just because you can tell when you scroll down a feed that's him and not anyone else because it's a little bit hard to tell if it's just really far away. This was one of my favorite photos as well. I think I kept it red because I thought it looked good, but I also made a black and white version and I think the composition on this is really good as well. I think keeping it red would have just made it look pretty good. So I think this is all I did. and increase the contrast a little bit. Going into the next photo, this was just perfect composition. The lights are there, it just looks really good. He's in the middle. So what I ended up doing was just did some basic corrections to make the colors pop a little. And I think I made it warmer so that it looked like normal skin tones. Lower the blacks, increase the clarity a little. So something like this. What I ended up doing, and rotated a little bit so that it fit the horizon a little better. And then there you go. So this one was personally one of my favorite. So there's two different versions of them, just depending on how the light kind of reflected. So this one had like a sort of light leak, not really. It was sort of just me shooting through an object. So this is how it ended up looking like. I think this one definitely looks better with color, especially if you were able to add contrast to this. So that's why I lowered the brightness and, you know, really added contrast to it. So that's why I switched the colors to like purple instead of keeping it orange. And then increase the clarity a bit. That's why it's a little bit grainy. If you go back to like how it looked like, it's a little bit grainy, but I think it looked really good. This was also one of my personal favorites. I think the composition is really good as well. So this is how it ended up looking like. Really, really good. Probably just increase the contrast, increase the clarity, and like really mess with the color because it looked like, yeah, this is what I probably did. Because it looked like a normal skin tone when it just started very blue. So you can see before and after, like this is all blue, and then I just moved it all the way to the right side, and now it looks kind of like a normal skin tone. This was also a really good photo. I wasn't able to change it to like a normal skin tone like I did with the other blue photo, so that's why I made it black and white. That's why it ended up like this. Kind of looks like ASAP Rocky in this one, to be honest. But yeah, that's about it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys want more videos like this, hit the thumbs up button. And if you guys also want to know how I actually got into this, it was like the craziest thing ever. I actually bought merch just for the reason that I was able to shoot the concert. And just the whole experience was amazing. And I got to see a lot of my friends there. That's what it's really about, right? So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it helped you out. My name is Steven, and I'll see you in the next one.